you. So this is the heart of Porpoise, Casino Casino. Sometimes called common porpoise because this is commonly found in many coastal areas of the world, in the Atlantic and in the Southern Hemisphere, Northern Hemisphere, in other oceanic regions as well. And they can go all the way up to almost Arctic water. So despite having quite a small body size, fully grown they're about 1.5, maybe 1.6 metres, most species of porpoise, which is actually very small for the whales and dolphins. And because of that, it presents particular challenges to how they can adapt to this environment of being a mammal, completely living their whole lifestyle in water. You know, if we think of the seals and the sea lions, the guinea pigs, they have to actually have a lot of their life cycle in the open ocean, and they feed in the open ocean. But in order to come, they need to come onto land to suckle and have their pups, and then to lactate and also to breed. So a key part of the life cycle lots of guinea pigs have to occur on land. Whereas what the cetaceans have done, the whales, dolphins and porpoises, is completely remove beneath the land whatsoever, and actually they just completely spend all their time in the ocean. And that presents particular challenges. So we can have a look at some of these. First of all, they have this very hydrodynamic shape, this very torpedo shape, which is typical of all cetaceans. As we'll see later, they also have underneath here quite strong muscles, and their main propulsion is from the tail fin. It's the upstroke of the tail fin gives them the main propulsion, not the downstroke. Also, they can have oxygen stores, pigments in special pigments in the muscle, and a large number of red blood cells in the blood, which means that they can greatly increase their amount of oxygen that they can store. Also, by being in water, that has its own challenges in terms of heat conduction, as we've seen. So, because water conducts heat 25 times more efficiently than in air, so blubber has a particular function, the blubber layer. We can't see it now, but we'll see it later. And it has the fat store for energy. It's also structural, it helps to give this torpedo-like large shape. And finally, it's as well as an energy store, it's used for insulation, so protection from cold water. And clearly they have a large surface area to hold ratio relative to some of the larger whales, so they really need their blubber to insulate them from the cold. Not only do they need the blubber, but they also need their fins and their flukes, not just for propulsion, but also to actually control their temperature. If they were to be in a warm water in a warm day, and they're swimming fast and using a lot of energy, they might need to dump some heat to the environment. The way they would do that is to increase the blood flow to the fins and the tail fins and the pectoral fin, and by doing that they can actually warm up the fins, and then the water will conduct that heat away from the body. Conversely, which probably happens most of the time, where they need to conserve heat because they're small animals in cold water, particularly winter time, then what they will do is they will just send blood flow to the fins and flukes, but only a small amount, just a bare minimum to keep those tissues alive. And what that does is it keeps the most of the blood deep in deep body tissues, and that maintains the body temperature and the temperature of the blood inside the stick of the jacket body. So really the fins and flukes have very important functions. The propulsion, as I said, comes from the upstroke of the tail fluke, the pectoral fins help with steering, and the dorsal fin helps with the hydrodynamics of preventing from rolling as well. But the main propulsion is from not just the tail fluke, but the muscles, the big muscles along the back, these big swimming muscles, and that's where the most of the power comes from. You can see and even the back. Because porpoises, like all the whales and dolphins, evolved from air-breathing land mammals about 60 million years ago into the ocean, and so that is an incredible challenge. How do you keep warm? How do you swim around? And actually, how do you find fish in the ocean? And one of the problems with the oceans, even in quite shallow coastal waters, is that if you go down just a few metres from the surface, the ambient light will go down to very, very little, just a bit of blue and green, it's very murky. And so actually their sight is still pretty good, and they have kind of amphibious vision. If they change the position of their eye, So actually, depending on if they're in air or if they're in water, so they can see underwater, they can see in air, albeit not as perfectly as we can. But what they mostly rely on is their ability to use sound.
Okay, we're going to shift stations again.
Conducts much further
Thank you very much.
than light and water. So by using their own sonar, and we'll look at the sonar later, they can take their own fish finding sonar going down deep, and then they produce the echo out the front of the animal, then they'll get an echo back, and they'll hear it from the jaw to the ears, and see it later. And that's how they can find food, even when it's very dark. So sound is far more important to the time, and the deeper they go into water, the more important sound becomes. But we'll see that when we